the day I fell in love with the EDs, executive directors. Executive director in her pantsuit, full head of, full makeup, nice hair.
You were in this game when I got started in this game. And when I first met you, I had just listened to you on the Bigger Pockets podcast, I believe.
2014.
I came to the local RIA that you were at. You weren't even like talking. You were just there. And I came up to you and I was like, I'm not going away. It's August 11th, 2021. I'm still here, buddy.
I love it.
So my point is that you've seen a lot of things. So the question is when you were dealing with the mom's house particular leads, right? Or that industry specific type of lead versus all the other types of leads that we work, cold call, cold text. And I'm talking about investors in general, right? Direct mail from driving for dollars, radio advertisements, billboards, right? I mean, whatever that niche may be, AdWords. Are you seeing less or more competition on the elderly leads in comparison to the other ways that we generate leads? Because we are a marketing business. I kind of want to circle back to that.
Yeah. Only from the retail front, probably. I always say if they didn't want my service, I would probably never get that call. Like if they were going to rehab it themselves, I never got that call. If they were going to list it themselves, I never got that call. So I really only get the calls that they're like, oh, I want to hear what this guy has to offer. And so,
so the retail side is the competitor versus
right now, yeah, more than the industry of investors. I would say the retail side is my bigger competition right now.
I figured that was the case, but I wanted to ask anyway, though. But that's exactly
you're very right, and I think
because when I cold call somebody, 4 other investors cold called them this month.
Yeah,
and the only reason they're talking to us is just because we care more about them than the property.
Yeah,
and we're going back to rule number 4. Of making the warm transfer and just making a friend, maybe make a joke, make them laugh a little bit, get their attention. Don't waste their time, And
I've got a social worker that does my front end calls, and she's talking about everything but the house.
Everything. Yeah.
She's talking about, hey, sweetie, what's going on in your life right now?
Yeah.
You don't even believe what's going on in my life.
The house is the solution to it.
Yeah.
Boom.
Yeah.
The house is usually not the problem.
Trust first.
Sometimes, but usually not.
But it takes trust first, and that's the hard part. I think it's hard to stand out in a lot of other types of marketing. And that warm transfer, again, sets me night and day. It's almost like a secret, right? It's like, hey, talk to Phil, man. He's my guy. You know what I mean? It just sounds different. I imagine it. I liken it to this, and it's even more powerful than this analogy. But imagine the postman walking up to your front door with those 38 postcards you got that month, and he says, "Don't call these 37. Call this one guy." And that's the postman. So you would probably listen to him. You're like, oh shit, what's he know? But this is not the postman. This is the person giving you your mom's end of life care.
Right.
It's not even the same planet. It's a whole different level of, oh shit, if that's their guy, then I'm definitely calling Philip because, yeah. I mean, guys, you have to make a really hard decision in a short amount of time. They are out craving knowledge. What Don said is, I didn't know how to help that guy with this particular thing, but once you have that solution, selling me the house is almost the easy part when I fix all their other issues.
Yeah. Matt's got a question. I assume it's the director of the facility or social services as the main people to build relationships. And there's probably
Matt, that's 1 of 12. We don't say the word facility. There's your first lesson, Matt. The word facility makes people think of prison. I would not want to put my mom in a facility. You want to start using the word community. So there's one of my free lessons for the day. I assume it's the director of the community. They're called ED. That's 1 of the 12. They're also the hardest one to get a hold of. I liken them to a high school principal. They're dealing with 140 families. They're putting out 140 fires. And if you think you're going to walk in, put your hand out and say, hey, I'm Matt Smith and I buy houses.
Yeah, unless you want to buy their service from them, they don't have time for you.
Don't even try. You're going to twist yourself in the industry you're trying to break into.
So the answer is yes, 1 of 12, though, right?
1 of 12. The director of the community is a great one. I remember the day I fell in love with the EDs, executive directors. She was in a St. Louis weather. We're very, well, right now, how humid is it outside right now? It's so gross.
Dude, it's 99 today. The high.
It's gross. It's like a shower outside. It's so gross. And the executive director in her pantsuit, full head of, full makeup, nice hair. She was up in the 2nd-story condo, moving boxes down. This lady was an aggressive collector. She was moving boxes down the 2nd story and throwing them in the dumpster to try to get. And she was arguing with the lady over. She had 27 canes, a walking cane. I'm not sure, a cane, like a cane.
Like you could keep 3 of them.
You can keep 3 of them. That's exactly what she said. You pick out your favorite 3 of them.
I'm gonna get you down to 1. I'll let you have a few.
3.
30 of them.
She had 27, and she's like, so she's like being a psychiatrist, and she's sweaty, like her makeup's running, and I'm like, can you stop moving this crap down to the dumpster? I'll take care of this. In that moment, do you think that executive director was happy to see Philip, or like?
Yeah, I wasn't like, hey, I need a moment of your time. You're like, hey, you don't have to do this anymore. I'll take care of it.
Yeah, I say, yeah. They have a.
So basically, the thing is don't call these people, right?
How it's done.
Yeah, like don't call them. Like go, if anything, go try to like drop off a care package, right?
No,
that would be my approach. If anything,
don't drop off your care
package.
Nope. Got to come to the training. I love that question. People.
This is why I'm asking.
I know people listening right now think Philip does this. They say, Phil walks in the front door, he puts his hand out and he says, hey, I'm Philip. I'm an investor. I buy houses from old people moving into nursing homes. In that sentence, I said at least 3 things wrong, if not 4, that will blacklist myself in the industry I'm trying to break into. But to a lot of investors, they think that's what I do.
So rephrase that sentence then. What do you do?
I meet them off campus. It's never on campus. Imagine going to a surgeon when he's doing surgery. You don't try to network with surgeons while they're on the surgery table, right?
See, I'm wrong. There it is, guys. Amazing.
But hold on. It's easy to assume that, right? It's easy. And you know what's funny? I had a student call me up and he goes, hey, Phil, I'm going to bake some cookies and bring them by and drop them. This was after he had been through the 3-day training. And I said, remember that moment in the 3-day training when I said you should bake cookies and drop them off? He goes, no. And I go, exactly. What are you doing? What are you doing? In fact, I told you not to do that. So it's just funny. We go back, and that's why this training it's so hard for us. They come out of the 3 days, they're like, I can't wait to do this. And then we go right back to investor and realtor talk. And that's where that ongoing mastermind, that training happens. It's like, it's a different thing, and do you have to have real estate knowledge to do this? It sure helps, but you don't have to. I use this analogy of the crock pot and the vase, and the crock pot is that real estate investor that's abrasive and transactional, like most guys are very, just a crock pot. You need to hire a vase to go build these relationships. You can still be I used to a couple of years ago, I was trying to convince crock pots to change, and I realized that was the wrong way to do it. I'll help you hire the right vase in your city to go build these relationships. Because a leopard can't change his spots for very long,
Yeah, absolutely.